Hi, Claudia. So, welcome to the Sunday Night Talk. And before we start, underneath the video, there are some links to various things. I have an event coming up on in December. It's on the website. I think it's the 16th, 17th, something like that. And there's a link to my book there. Hi, Paul. Hi, other Paul. I've also there's a donate page if you wish to donate towards these talks. I do them for free, obviously. Hi, Incision Sheffield, John. Yeah, hi, John. I've also added a few things to there. If you fancy donating some cryptocurrency, I put some cryptocurrency links on there because I'm so modern like that. Yeah, there's also my Facebook page, and I think that's about it. Hi, Keel. Hi, Trish. Oh, so yeah, there's speaking and listening going on. Speaking and listening going on. That's it. And what it is absolute aliveness happening. There's no one here speaking. There's no one listening. It's the same thing. It's the same aliveness. This life is so impossible to describe because there isn't anything in it for the sense of somebody. And ironically, the sense of somebody is that as well. It's never that one that's going to get anything. What I'm talking about, to that sense of self. And the sense of self thinks it's listening. I'm listening. No, there's nobody listening. There's just listening happening. Hi, Nina. Oh, thanks. Hi, Alexandra. And it's all happening. It's just happening. It's just aliveness. Deathlessness. It's life and death is and neither. I know these words don't mean anything. There's no other way of saying it. This whole appearance appears as every single thing, including the appearance of apparent time. It's just such a river that doesn't go anywhere. Where it's just profound and free. So there's a sense of that I want to get to that, what she's talking about, but unbeknown to that appearance of wanting to get to it, it already is it. Nobody gets this. There isn't anybody to get this because there isn't anybody as separate individuals. Just this life appears as the amazing thing of a human having an appearance in it that says, I'm separate. Then with that goes this whole thing of like, I'm never going to get it. I'm this, I'm that, I'm not worthy. I'm stuck. I have all these conditions that prevent me from getting it. When it already is the aliveness, because this is like total equality. Hi, Joe. Such a what? Such a nothing and everything. It's about total equality. Everything is equal. Everything. That includes everything because life appears as everything. Life gives birth to all these appearances and then annihilates it instantaneously. What an amazing thing. It's amazing that you walk and your feet plant on the floor. It doesn't float off. Oh God, and the sky and stars and trees and everything. The story of the world appearing as it is. In a complete mess, apparently. And it all gets annihilated. And that is such love. The giving and the taking is such love. Just life, this is life. This is what you're looking for. This is where the sense of separation wants to return home to, but it won't because it is home. Because it is it. It is it. It is this. Appearing as feeling separate. And this is life, talking about life. I mean, what a crazy thing. Mind-blowing. So everything that appears is in absolute free fall. It's untouchable. Because the sense of self thinks that this freedom that's been spoken about is something. Hi, Tracy. It thinks it's something, that it will be a moment where it happens. I'm waiting to die. I'm waiting to die. When it was never born. It was never born. And it doesn't die. It's just an illusion. It's a dream. Hey, Will. It's a dream. It's no different from the leaf on that plant or my cup of tea. Talking of which. And back to tea because it's cooled down a bit rather than iced water. The sense of self lives in an illusory prison. It feels trapped. But it's nothing. But yet to it feels like everything. And most people that come to these talks kind of suffer from it. It's like a suffering. It's like, this can't be it. This can't be it. It's nothing. It's not true. So it hears the message that has been spoken because it's known, which is a terrible word to use, but I'm going to use it. It's known that it's not true. It's known that there is boundless freedom because there is only boundless freedom. So of course it's recognized or resonated with or something like that. So when anybody talks about this, or whether it's thought about or read or whatever, there's a recognition by no one. It's just recognition happening. This is not about awareness. It's not about seeing there is freedom. Seeing goes. Seeing is of the me. So when that's not there, there is only freedom. And it's not personal. Lisa's not free. Lisa's just a body walking around having feelings and thoughts and sensations and stuff. There's no spiritual awakening. What would that look like? I don't even know what that would look like. It would be personal. This is not personal. This is the absolute opposite. This is freedom from personal. From this life is about me. And I have to be free of me. Even the idea that I have to be free of me is personal. So yeah, if you want to ask questions, you can do so. Yeah, feel free, comment, ask questions, which is the best bit. When there is a sense of separation, it doesn't see, and nobody does see, but it doesn't see the miracle of this life. I see the to my sense of self. So my sense of self heard an antagonistic remark by someone at work, which seemed to cause personal upset. How to let that instantly dissolve? I would say that's like someone said something, and there's a reaction as a human. There's a reaction because, you know, we're like any other animal. You know, if you poke a dog with a stick, it's gonna snap at you or run away or get angry with you because, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. But what happens also is that the sense of self thinks, I'm hearing the antagonistic remark, I'm upset by it. But it's not upset by it. The reaction or the response is feeling like, oh, but then the sense of self can turn that into a story. How can I dissolve it? How can I do something about that? It creates this whole story about the whole instance. That sense of self wouldn't have been there. There would have been an antagonistic remark, and then, you know, the human called CDD would have just thought, oh, asshole or something. Oh, that's not very nice. And then it would have not dissolved, but it would have just disappeared because it doesn't stick. It's the sense of self that carries that on as a story and then wants to dissolve it. But there's nothing wrong with the sense of being upset. Pretty juicy, actually. It's like, even though it's, you know, kind of painful. But it's the sense of self that causes the suffering from it, not the actual feeling upset. Well, if someone, you know, comes along and insults you, of course we're like, you know, hey. Of course, that's what the human does. It's an emotional kind of mechanism, really. So how to let it dissolve? It would dissolve itself if there was no story there about it. It'd be gone. 1 minute, 5 minutes, depending how long the interaction is going on for. And then it's just on to the next thing. Then it's just like, okay, cup of tea, whatever. Tracy, yes, it's like we nurse our wounds. Yeah, it's like the sense of self goes, how dare they say that to me? Or how dare they say that to my beloved, you know, friend or partner or whatever? How dare they? And I'm really offended by that. And now I'm feeling like a failure because I've let that affect me. And it goes into all this stuff where the actual upsetness is absolutely normal and natural, of course. You know, if you see someone smacking a kid in the street, it's just like, you know, back raises up. And but yeah, the sense of self just makes this whole thing because it thinks it's happening to me when nothing's happened to it. It's just an appearance. It didn't happen to it at all. But the story is this sense of separation. Yeah. You know, I can get like someone's mean, I'd be like, hey, back it in. And it's kind of uncomfortable. But that discomfort is just not personal because it's just what's happening. And there's no sense to run away from it. It's just, you know. DDD, oh, you're welcome. Yes, the story got way too big as long as I thought about it. Thinking makes it grow bigger. Yeah, and the sense of self can't help that. It just does that because it takes everything personal. Everything to do with the sense of self is utterly, utterly personal. Joe, don't give it energy yet, but it can't help it, you see. It can't help it. But then at the same time, it can be undermined by, you know, the response here. It's like, oh yeah, yeah. There was a story happening. The actual antagonistic remark caused a response. And yeah, of course, that's normal. Stories become like scratch records. Yeah. The sense of self is like a scratch record, isn't it? And you know what? It never got anywhere. It never got anywhere. It never arrived to this point. It never arrived here. It never gets anywhere. So it continues, you know, bumping over the same thing again and again. That happened to me. That happened to me. What am I going to do now? Me, all the time. But the good news is that that sense of self is aliveness. And what hears that is not the sense of self. Hi, Victor. After liberation, is there still only what appears? Sights, sounds, etc. There is nothing added of. Everything exactly the same, but now it's obvious that it's empty and free. Yes, to all of that. Yeah, it's exactly the same. The computer's still the same computer. Tea still tastes the same, thank God. Yeah, but it's just, there's nobody in it anymore. There's nobody in it. It was always this, and it's really obvious that, of course, it was always this. And there's nothing personal in it anymore. Of course, there's reactions and responses, like someone being a bit of an arse. But that's great, that's amazing. The whole appearance is amazing. Even the sadness over things, you know, you see that some country's been bombed or something, it's just like, oh, like the whole thing going on all at once is just empty and yet full and utterly indescribable. So yeah, there's nothing added. In fact, what there is something's been removed. The sense of it being something specific and going somewhere specific, full of hopes, dreams, longings, and real belief in the story that there is something to get. I am going to get there, or I'm not going to get there. In Lisa's case is I'm not going to get there because only special people get there. What a joke! And so all that story, all that contracted energy is just a puff of smoke. It was nothing. And yet when that was there, it really felt like something really important. So, you know, going to all those retreats and spending all that money. There's that feeling of I need to get it, and then the slight sort of doubt that I'm not going to get it because only that person sitting on stage up there gets it. And everybody is it. Everybody is it. All the humans are it. All the cars, all the grass, all mice. It was always just everything. Beautiful, like stunning, stunning. Tracy, how do we deal with families whose stories are like a ton of bricks? How do we deal with them? I think if someone in my family's got a ton of stories, yeah, I just kind of ignore it. Just let them get on with it. I mean, that's what happens here. You know, if someone in my family has a ton of stories, it's just like, well, you know, just let them get on with it. It's just what's happening, isn't it? Someone in your family has a ton of stories. Even if the story's about you, you know, which happens in this family, stories about this thing called Lisa. It's like, well, they're just stories, and none of it's true. Paul, I know that feeling. What I was saying earlier about seeking and like there's someone up there who gets it. Is that what you mean? Oh, you're welcome, Victor. Kiel, winning the World Cup or scratching your ass is just as wonderful. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure scratching your ass when the World Cup's on, when it's absolutely desperate, is way more satisfying. Has to be done. Yeah, that was really strong here. Like, they're such a special person. They've realized like the secret to the universe and life, and I'll never get it, you know. Oh, hi, Sergey. Yeah, Alexandra. How can what is be a wonder and stunning if it is to no one? How is it possible to say so? Because it just is, and you don't need a sense of self to see that it's absolutely stunning, because it's a complete mystery. It's a complete mystery. It doesn't mean that there's no character left. There's no one left. There's the character can, like, oh, there's just a wonder happening. It's not coming from a sense of self. Just what's happening. There's no reference point. Yeah, but there's no reference point to that either. There's no reference point to the wonder. And the wonder's not always there. It's just there when it's there. And then there's just, you know, whatever, going shopping, cooking. And then they might be like, oh yeah, wow, you know, especially when you're speaking about it or something like that. Or sitting, you know, just sitting down, staring at the wall, which happens. It can just be like, wow. But it's not got a reference point. See, the sense of self thinks that anything that happens in the character has to have a reference point to somebody. So if someone comes along and punches me in the arm, there's just punching in the arm happening. It's not happening to anybody. It's just what's happening. It's just there. You know? Anything that happens to it. All that, the sense of self is thinking and feeling and believing that there is something that has to happen to somebody. But what is happening there, whatever's happening there, sitting, drinking a glass of water, whatever, has no reference point unless there's somebody there, a sense of self saying it has to have a reference point, because everything has to have a reference point. I understand. Sometimes when I speak out about it with someone, a sense of wonder comes. even if there is still someone here. Yeah, the sense of wonder just comes. It's just there, you know, for a minute, two, whatever. Even if there's someone there. Up there. Yeah, there's a wonder. You know, even when there was a sense of self here, I wonder, we're like, you know, listen to Tony, especially Tony, I'd be like, yeah, cool, that big yes, big yes. Then the self will say, but what is that? I need to get that. I need to claim that sense of wonder, sense of yes. Yeah, I need to have it for me. Where is it? I've lost it now. Comes up with all this garbage. Utter garbage. Life's more spontaneous. Life is only spontaneous. Aliveness can only be spontaneous. Yes, it can. A contracted energy can be incredibly strong, holding its contractedness. Yeah, well, it's just an appearance of a contracted energy appearing to hold it. It's like the whole, it's the one play, really. It's the one movie running. The one apparent reality of separation. When really it's the same as not being there. And I know that's like, oh, I can't say that. But having the sense of self there is the same as no sense of self there. It's just a completely different appearance. But it's impossible to get that. Hey, what? My mum bought me some Yorkshire tea when she came. Can't get it here. It's amazing. Floats all my British boats. That's the thing with the sense of self. It does really feel like it has to have a reference to everything. How can this be without somebody knowing it? Well, it is being without somebody knowing it anyway. It's here or there. This is everything happening without knowing it already. But then there's this like thing about, but how can it be like that? I need to know it. It can't be there without me knowing it. There can't be things going on in the human body without somebody knowing it. Love your big cup of tea. Yeah, I've had this cup of tea for ages. It's my favorite cup. It's yeah, holds so much tea. Brilliant. See, that's the illusion and the delusion. That there has to be somebody that knows. Does there need to be somebody to know that breathing is happening? That the heartbeat is happening? That colors are happening? It's like it's looking for something that's already happening, thinking it might find something in that. And it never will, because it's already everything. CDD, a glimpse of a completely different appearance sure seemed surreal. Yeah, 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 it can be really surreal. Especially at first. Especially at first, because the body mind's going, what the hell? What? What is this? Because it's It's not used to it. It's used to being governed by a sense of a perspective from an illusory point somewhere that seems to be in the body, appears to be in the body. And when that sense of perspective is no longer there, there's no longer something going from here to there, separate thing to separate thing, it can feel really, really surreal for a while. And the sort of body mind just seems to reprogram itself. It's just programmed to kind of run like that. Paul, do things, actions happen anyway when there is a sense of me without thinking? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I guess you're sitting on a chair somewhere. Is the chair just happening without you thinking about it? Is it just happening? Is there just a chair? Is there just sitting on a chair happening? Of course it's happening anyway. That's the thing. The sense of self thinks something has to know this, like it's some sort of consciousness, that I have to be part of this consciousness, that this is all looking at itself somehow. It's so beyond that. It's not looking at itself, and yet there is a closest word I can get to it is an intelligence, but it has no separate consciousness. I wouldn't mind getting used to the surrealness. Yeah, unfortunately, it wouldn't be you getting used to the surrealness. Unless it's already happening, but it does if it's already like that. If the sense of self is like suddenly like, oh, not a reality anymore, it does take a little while. Excuse me, trumpet. It does take a little while to adjust to that. Joe Eckhart Tolle says hell is other people. I don't know. I don't know anything about heaven and hell. Hell is other people. I don't know. There's just other people. And they are very, very varied in their appearance. Like everything. There are also many very beautiful people. I'm sure he probably said that in context of some sort. As a statement on its own, it seems rather brutal. Well, there are no other people, actually. There are other humans, but there are no other people. There's nobody actually at this talk. There's just the appearance, and the body says that I'm at the talk. It's just an appearance, it's a dream. I'm at the talk. Who? Where? What is it? It's nothing. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, I thought it had some sort of context. It meant the sense of separation. Yeah. Yeah, the sense of separation, hell can be other people. Because everyone's bouncing off each other, aren't they? All these me's colliding with their stories, making big dramas about the other person, what they did to me, what I want to do to them. How dare they? In that sense, yeah, like that story can run for sure. Doesn't mean the character doesn't like a bit of gossip anymore. It's always a bit of gossip, it's always fun. As long as it's not drama. No, thank you very much. Personal drama. What is can't be any other way. And nothing can change it. And it doesn't need to be changed. Only the sense of self wants to change it. Make it for me. Victor, how does it hide the freedom that is? It doesn't hide. It doesn't hide at all. Because freedom also appears as looking for it. It's also the same thing. And yet, paradoxically, the freedom, the boundlessness is ironically hidden by looking for it at the same time. Sounds like a contradiction, and it is. But that's how it is. Ah, it's amazing. This appearing as being hidden and looking for it. It's wild, huh? Tracy, lots of personal drama in my family life, but it's like going over old ground. Yeah, I want to help, but also find it also dramatic. Yeah. Yeah, if there's personal story involved in it, then it will be very difficult. Yeah. And it's always like going over old ground, isn't it? The me is always appearing, only appearing, to go over old ground. It's always doing that. I haven't got there, I haven't got there, I haven't got there. All the time. Thanks, Joe. Ironically, the sense of self loves drama, but Tracy doesn't. The sense of self gets a real kind of feed off it. Hi, lovely. It is actually scary to think I am not separated from everything and everything is nothing. Like, where are the boundaries? It's like I am scared thinking of it like this. Yeah. Well, there's nothing in it for the sense of self, you see. And the sense of self wants everything to be known for me, because then I feel okay and I feel safe. When that's just kind of obliterated, and there's still a sense of self there, it will run from it, because there's nothing in it for it. There's no safety. But this is really what I'm talking about, has no safety whatsoever for a separate self. No safety at all. I miss being in the knowing place like others. That's the sense of self, you see. It wants that security. Like, whew, now I know. Even better, now I've got a drama, I'm really in it. Keel, sorry, I can't help it. Eckhart Tolle is totally teaching, therefore dual and in hell. Yeah, I don't read Eckhart Tolle. It doesn't pique the interest here. I did years ago when there was a proper seeking going on before, you know, all this. Yeah, there's definitely teaching there. I don't have a problem with that. Not my bag, but you know, yeah. I don't equate Eckhart Tolle with this message, but then again, he just is, you know, and no big deal. But yeah, he is totally a teacher. Yeah, he's sweet though. Well, from what I see on his years ago, from his voice. Therefore, dual and in hell. Feels like hell, doesn't it? Sometimes. It's like, God damn it! When am I ever gonna get it? It is it. It's life appearing. They're trying to get it. Will, so crazy that it's totally unescapable, actually. I know, it's utterly unescapable. Where is there to go? Into stories, that's the only place to go. Into an imaginary future, a dream of tomorrow. Be all right tomorrow, when I'm enlightened. It's just, that's it, and that's what's happening as well. It's just totally happening all at once. CDD. Giving up seeking is spontaneous because the me would want to keep seeking. Yeah, not giving up seeking doesn't even happen. The collapse of the me is the collapse of seeking. Seeking and me are the same appearance. And it is utterly spontaneous. The whole thing is spontaneous. Yeah. Like everything else, it's spontaneous. Yeah, the sense of self would definitely want to keep seeking. The sense of self is seeking. It's seeking energy. It's separate and wants to become whole again. And it will not rest. And every human being who has that sense of separation is seeking. Whether it's in non-duality, houses, partners, whatever, money, whatever. It's all seeking for that moment where I've arrived. And it's absolutely illusory that there is anywhere to arrive. Joe, everything's allowed to be as it is. Well, everything is as it is. Who would allow it? Me, I'm allowing it. Keel, yeah, he's sweet. That's even worse. Yeah, he's sweet, isn't he? He's like a little kind of sort of otherworldly creature. Because you can't teach getting to this because it already is. That's why you can't teach it. Who would you be teaching? A dream. I'm going to teach a dream. How to get to something which you cannot get to. Because there isn't anybody to get to it. It's already it. Already here, this. E.T. Yeah. Oh, bless. Hi, Donnie. How can we live in a very materialistic world and not get caught up in the illusion of it and the judgment of other people. Well, when there is no sense of self, it doesn't get caught up in it. It just is. Walking down the street with loads of cars and people and pollution and everything, it's just what's happening. It's just what's happening. Yeah, and judgment always comes from a sense of other. Sense of me, therefore there must be an other. And they're either a threat to me, or there's something I can get from them, or I like them, or all so on and so forth. So we don't live in a materialistic world. The sense of self says, I live in a materialistic world, but it doesn't. There's just materialistic world. And it's utterly perfect. Even when the human is trying to make it better, like a better place, less pollution, blah, blah, blah. Even that is perfect, because that is what's happening. Well, I bet his ears are burning. Yeah. His little otherworldly ears. CDD, I wonder what gives illusion its strength. I don't know. I don't know. From here, it just is as it is. What gives it strength would be a story in a sense. I mean, I can go into that, but it's like, it's not really true. Seeking can give it strength. Greed can give it strength. But that is really a story. If strength happens, it's strength happening. Going, ha ha ha. I'm going to be more separate. Not that that is, but you know, as an analogy. I'm going to appear as rivers and lakes and sense of selves. Alexandra, what happens if you direct your attention towards a sensation in the body? There is no more concept, just no separation between knower, known, just what is. Well, I guess if there is a sensation in the body, like stubbing of the toe, which is usually a kind of, hi, Julie. We're stubbing of the toe, which is usually a really intense sensation. It seems like attention's going to it because everything is like kind of like disappears because the toe is so intense. But that's just the way it is. There's no, you don't need to have a sense of me for attention to go to something. Like if I heard a big crash down the street or a hooting of a car, like, you know, might interfere with this human, there'd be an attention going to it. But that's just the human and its interaction with the appearance. But there's nobody in that. The sense of self thinks, I'm the one who's giving the attention. And one of the most sort of insidious things is the sense of self giving attention to the practice of awareness. That is insidious. It's literally a quiet me. No separation between knower and known. No. Well, there is no knower and there is no known. It just is. It's an absolute free fall, Alexandra. Absolute free fall. Can't get hold of anything. Glad Julie's joined us. Julie is an amazing editor and knows this subject inside out. That is amazing. Sorry, Julie, didn't mean to embarrass you. Okay, I have 10 minutes. That went quick. I'm gonna finish on time tonight because I have my daughter here. She's only here for one more day. One moment. Excuse me. Oh no, it's okay. Oh, hang on. Okay, back. Victor, free fall sounds scary, but is it? No, no. It would only be scary to a sense of self because there's nothing for it. It's the end of it. It's the end. It's absolute death to that illusion. Death. Even though it's not alive. It doesn't die. But as a kind of analogy, free fall, this, which has no place in space or time, is a horror because there's nothing in it for anybody. There's nothing to get, there's nothing to gain from it. That's why I say there is no enlightenment. Because enlightenment is a gaining of something. This is about the opposite. This is awful for the sense of self. But it's free, it's free. Freedom. There is no bottom. No. It's like falling out of an airplane forever with no parachute. There's nothing to hold on to. And it's glorious. To me, the free fall sounds even exhausting. Yeah, because there'd be something there. If there was a sense of self in free fall, which there cannot be, we just get that straight, those two cannot exist together. But if they could, as a story, it would be screaming the whole way. So yeah, it would be exhausting. But it's not. It's just what is. It's just what is. It's this untouchable, ungraspable. Not like the scene in Gravity. No. No. That was a good film. I went to see that in 3D. Brilliant. Yeah, the two can't exist together. Life in free fall and life in a sense of contracted separation. Impossible. Because free fall, boundless, is only there when that contracted self is not there. But ironically, the contracted self is free fall happening, but it can't be seen from that apparent reality. It's impossible to imagine. It's impossible to imagine. It's possible for me to imagine life without me. Absolutely impossible. And yet this is life without a me anyway. With me imagining what it'd be like not to be there. As if it's something for itself, something personal. That I will get it. I'll be free from my suffering. Victor, and it will try to imagine until it dies, right? Yeah, yeah. Desperately trying to imagine it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I spent many years trying to imagine it. And it's nothing like it tries to imagine it as. Nothing. Because it's just this. It's trying to imagine this. It's insane, right? I'm trying to imagine this, which is the freedom. It's the aliveness. It's the freedom. And I'm trying to imagine it. It's this appearing as trying to imagine this. What a mystery it all is. What a wonder that it appears like that. Life sitting there trying to imagine sitting. As if it's something that can be known. As if sitting on a chair can be known by me. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you. She's only here till Tuesday now. But I'll see her in December when I come to Brighton. So I hope to see some of you there. I'm going to be staying at Brendan's, and you know, if you're there for the weekend, we can, I don't know, we'll go out to dinner together or something. Thank you, Sergey. Oh, that's really nice of you to say. Thank you. I love it. I love it. It's just the best thing to be sharing this, to be with you guys, and just it's just so great, so great, beautiful. The most beautiful thing. My conditioning did not train me to be content with what is. I seek to change that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can change the conditioning. You can. But the seeker will always be seeking. Yeah. Yeah, the sense of self is never content. It'll never be content. Even if all the conditioning is worked out, you know, all the fears and dreads and all that, if all that's all worked out, it will still continue to seek. Oh, thank you, Keel. I'm still smiling about the me screaming in free fall. Yeah. It's funny, huh? Thank you, Claudia. Thanks, Paul. Brighton sounds great. Oh, yeah. I'll be there. We'll miss it. Oh, really great. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. And my daughter's not here this week, so I will try and make it midweek. But I can't promise anything because you know me, total space cadet. And yeah, lots of love. Bye.